Can Trump's new tariffs trigger force majeure? What businesses must know. When COVID hit and events got canceled left and right, I thought I'd seen every possible force majeure clause known to mankind. I was wrong. Now with new tariffs and shifting trade policies, I'm seeing companies ask one very important question. Can a change in tariffs be a force majeure event? Let's break it down, so you know what to look for and how East-West General Counsel can help protect your business. First things first, what is a force majeure clause and do you have it in your contract? A force majeure clause is a contract provision that allows parties to pause or cancel their obligations when an unforeseeable, uncontrollable event like a war, natural disaster, or government action makes performance impossible or radically different than agreed. Simply put, it's your legal get-out-of-jail-free card for when disasters strike. Under English law, you don't get this protection automatically. It needs to be written into the agreement. I've seen too many clients assume they're covered, only to find out too late that the clause is missing or too vague. So always review your contracts and know exactly what your force majeure provision covers. Is the tariff covered by the clause? Most force majeure clauses name specific events: war, natural disasters, pandemics. But what about tariffs? If your clause mentions government actions or economic restrictions, you might be able to argue that tariffs are covered. But here's the catch. Courts will interpret these clauses strictly. If tariffs aren't specifically mentioned, you'll need to make a compelling case that this is more than just a run-of-the-mill business risk. Impossible or just unprofitable. Now for the tough part. Force majeure isn't about inconvenience or lost profits, it's about true impossibility. If tariffs just make your contract less profitable, that usually isn't enough. You need to show that performing the contract is genuinely impossible or illegal. Otherwise, courts will expect you to soldier on, even if margins shrink. Notice requirements. Even if you have a strong argument, you can't just claim force majeure out of the blue. Most clauses require prompt, formal written notice. If you miss this step, you could lose your right to invoke the clause altogether. I always advise clients to act fast, notify your partners as soon as possible, and make sure your notice is detailed and compliant with your contract's terms. What happens next? So, what's the outcome of invoking force majeure? It could mean suspending your obligations, renegotiating terms, or even terminating the contract. In my experience, it's often a starting point for productive renegotiation. Use this time to work with your suppliers and buyers. Maybe you can restructure timelines or pricing to avoid a total contract meltdown. Your duty to mitigate. Even if force majeure applies, you still have to show you did your best to lessen the impact. That means exploring alternative suppliers, adjusting delivery schedules, or negotiating temporary price changes. Courts expect you to be proactive, not passive. What should you do now? Here's my checklist for legal professionals and business leaders. Review all contracts for force majeure and material adverse change clauses. Assess exposure to new tariffs, especially under recent executive orders. Document how these tariffs impact your performance. Work with legal counsel, like East-West General Counsel, to ensure you meet notice requirements and strategize your next move. Conclusion. Tariffs and sudden regulatory changes can ripple through your business fast, but with the right legal insight and strategic planning, you can stay ahead of the curve. If you need help navigating these complexities, East-West General Counsel offers the expertise and pragmatic advice you need. Reach out today. Disclaimer. This material is for informational purposes only and isn't legal advice. Always consult with your counsel before acting on this information. East-West General Counsel, helping you expect the unexpected.